Morning, everybody. My name is Tanya Batra. I'm Learning Support Educator. I have a YouTube channel by this name, Tanya Batra Learning Support Educator. I request everybody to subscribe to my channel and to hit the bell icon for all the updates. In today's session, we are going to discuss on dyslexia, and we will be talking about teaching strategies that can be used for children having dyslexia. So, keep watching the video, and if you're having any doubts or any concerns, you can definitely put it in the comment section, in the chat box. Okay, so let's start. Let me open this PDF for you all. Okay, teaching strategies for dyslexics. Now, in my previous videos, I've already discussed about dyslexia, the early signs of children with specific learning disability. So I will be rushing up with this content, and then I will be jumping onto the strategies. I will definitely share this PDF also in the description below and also in the WhatsApp group. Okay. So dyslexia is a language-based learning disability, and I've already, just to interrupt in between, I've already highlighted the important points so that it is easy for you all to go through and to revise the topics and to go through the important points. Okay. So dyslexia is a language-based learning disability. In the children with dyslexia, they experience difficulty in language skills such as spelling, writing, and speaking. Dyslexia is a lifelong status, as we all know, that specific learning disability, and dyslexia is one of the type of SLD. It cannot be cured. Okay, the condition can be improved when the intervention is given, when the strategies are used, but it cannot be cured. Dyslexia can make it very difficult for a student to succeed academically in the typical instruction environment. Typical instruction environment basically refers to, if you're talking about traditional learning environment where there is a lecture-based teaching is being used, direct instruction is given to the child, complex instruction is given to the child. So such kind of learning environment can be difficult for the learner having dyslexia. What causes dyslexia? Or we say what causes specific learning disability, and dyslexia is one of the type of SLD. The exact causes are known. It is still not clear, but anatomically and some of the brain imagery studies have shown differences in the way the brain of a dyslexic person develops and functions. Okay. Dyslexia is not due to either of lack of intelligence. It is very important. It is not because the child does not want to learn, there is no desire to learn. No, dyslexia is not because of this. With appropriate teaching method, dyslexics can learn successfully and they can be successful in their lives. Okay, they can have their successful career. They can grow. They can definitely earn. They can do a job. They can be successful in their life if proper teaching methods, intervention, instructions, guidance is given to learners having dyslexia. Okay, how widespread is dyslexia? Current studies suggest that 15 to 20% of population have reading disability. Of those, 85% of population have dyslexia. Some people are identified as dyslexic early, but others, their dyslexic goes unidentified until they get older. Okay. People who are very bright can be dyslexic. Yes, the students who are very bright can be dyslexic. And now in the next line, it is mentioning about the strengths, the capabilities of learners having dyslexia. They are gifted in the areas that do not require language skills, such as art. They might be really good in drawing, they might be good in painting, they are good in computer science, they are good in designing, drama, electronics, maths, mechanics, music, physics, sales, and support, sports. Okay. So these are the areas in which the dyslexic learners are really good at. So the educators, the parents can use these areas as their strength and can motivate them to work on the areas in which they are lacking behind. Okay. What are the effects of dyslexia? The impact that dyslexia has is different for each person and depends on the severity of the condition. The most common effects are problem with reading, spelling, and writing. Okay, so these are the concern areas which are being mentioned. People with dyslexia find it difficult to express themselves clearly or to fully. Okay, just a minute. Thank you, Shivali, for letting me know. Let me just come back and show you the PDF. 1 minute. Are we able to see the PDF now, Shivali? The document that I've just opened? Just a minute. What about now?
Yes, now I can see. Thank you.
Okay, great. So we were discussing about the meaning of dyslexia, the causes of dyslexia, how dyslexia is widespread, and I will definitely share this PDF in the description and in the WhatsApp chat. Okay. The effects of dyslexia. How is dyslexia? Okay, coming back to the effects of dyslexia again. People with dyslexia can have problems with spoken language. They find it difficult to express themselves clearly or to fully comprehend what others mean when they say. So they might not be able to understand the instruction. They might not be able to understand the non-verbal cues. They might not be able to understand what the other person is trying to say. And they also have difficulty in expressing themselves. Dyslexia can affect a person's self-image, self-esteem. Students with dyslexia often end up feeling dumb and less capable when they are actually than they actually are. So these are some of the labels that is most commonly given to people with dyslexia, to children with dyslexia. And as an educator, as parent, it is very important to avoid these terms for children having dyslexia, or even for if we talk about general category students also, it is not recommended to use such categories of words. We need to understand their concern areas, we need to understand their issues, and accordingly, we have to work on it. After experiencing a great deal of stress due to academic problem, a student may become discouraged. It is very important point to note down. So, students, if you're repeating these words on a regular basis in front of children, so they definitely will get discouraged. And if they are even putting up their at least 10% on any task, they will not be able to even put that 10%. Okay. How is dyslexia diagnosed? A formal evaluation, a formal diagnosis done by a clinical psychologist is necessary. The evaluation assesses intellectual ability, information processing, psycholinguistic processing, academic skills. There are several formal assessment tools available for diagnosing dyslexia, like DTLD, DTRD, and other intelligence-based tests are also used. It is used to determine whether or not a student is reading at the expected level, which refers that the reading level is according to the age appropriate or not according to the mental age and chronological age or not, and takes into account the individual's family background and overall school performance. Now, the signs of dyslexia. Again, I'm repeating, I've already given the overview on dyslexia and the signs of SLD, the signs of dyslexia in my previous slides. So definitely, I will also put the link of those presentations in the description below. So that's the reason I'm rushing up with this content. Now, the problem displayed by individuals having dyslexia involve difficulty in acquiring and using language, reading or writing. They also face difficulty in learning to speak. You can say learning to speak in a systematically way. Okay, learning to express their needs, learning to difficulty in expressing their uh, concept, understanding. Okay, difficulty in organizing written and spoken language, difficulty in learning letters, sounds, difficulty in memorizing number facts, difficulty in spelling, reading, learning a foreign language, or difficulty in correctly doing the math operations. Now, the next point is very important. Not all students who have difficulty with these skills are dyslexic. Very important. All of these difficulties can differ and can it depends upon the area, it depends upon the regional language, it depends upon the environmental changes, the family situations. So if you are observing all of these characteristics, it's not important that the child is having dyslexic. We also have to see the consistency. We also have to see the number of characteristics being observed in children having facing these learning problems. Okay. Formal diagnosis is very important to confirm the diagnosis of suspected dyslexia. How is dyslexia treated? Again, dyslexia is a lifelong condition. Dyslexia can learn to read, can learn to write well. Early identification and intervention is very important, and it is the key to improve the child, improve the dyslexia, and improve can it's the key in helping dyslexics to achieve in school and life. Most people with dyslexia need help from teacher, tutor, therapist, special educator using a multi-sensory and a structured language. It should be very structured, it should be clear, it should be step-based. Instruction need to be given. They can be taught by several methods, which involve several of their senses, like hearing, seeing, touch, kinesthetic, movements can be involved. Schools can implement academic modifications, which means the changes, okay, that can be given during the examination, during the instructions to help the dyslexic students succeed. Extra time can be given to complete the task. Extra notes can be given. Handwritten or typed notes can be given to the students. Recorded audio lessons can be given to allow the student to use alternative means of assessment, listening to books on tapes, writing on computers, all of these accommodations can be included. Student may also need help with emotional issues that sometimes arise as a sequence of difficulties in school. What are the rights of dyslexic person according to IDEA Section 504 and Rehabilitation Act of 1973, American with Disabilities Act, define the rights of students with dyslexia. These individuals are legally entitled to special services to help them overcome and accommodate their learning problems. Okay. The services include education program, that is special education need to be given to them, designed to meet their needs. The act also protect people with dyslexia against unfair and illegal discrimination. Very important. So these acts, these policies lay the foundation for people with dyslexia and ensure that there should be no unfair means and there should be no discrimination against them. Okay, now common signs of dyslexia. Facts about dyslexia. These are some of the facts that we all should be aware of. 15 to 20% of population have reading disability, so it is common nowadays in children. Dyslexia is the most common cause of reading, writing, spelling difficulty. If children who are dyslexic get appropriate phonological training, then definitely their problems in reading, spelling will reduce. Okay. Individuals inherit the genetic links for dyslexia. Now, these are the common signs in preschool: may talk later, difficulty pronouncing, slowing, slow to add new vocabulary in their dictionary, unable to recall the right word, difficulty with rhyming. These are the sign characteristics of dyslexics if we are suspecting at the preschool stage. Okay, the children who are having reading difficulties in preschool level. Trouble learning with the alphabet, trouble learning interacting with peer, unable to follow the multi-step instructions, fine motor difficulty, difficulty telling or retelling a story, difficulty arranging the things in a sequence. Now for kindergarten, difficulty decoding sight words, single words, slow to learn the connection between the letter and sound, not able to understand what's the sound and what's the letter, difficulty in understanding the relationship, gets confused between small words, consistent reading and spelling errors, transpose number sequence and confuse arithmetic sign, trouble remembering facts, slow to learn new skills, impulsive, difficulty in planning their work, their answer, their area, their desk, okay, impulsive and prone to accident, difficulty planning, an awkward pencil grip, not able to hold the pencil properly, trouble learning to tell the time, poor fine motor coordination. Now, these are some of, you can say, the checklist which is available here. How you can spot, how you can identify a child who is having reading difficulties in your class. So this is the checklist which you can use in your classroom. I will share it for your assistance. You can definitely make use of it. Okay. Now, coming to a very important point, strategies. How a dyslexic learner learns. Okay, this document is of around 22 pages. We will be discussing around 12 to 13 pages in this part of the video. Okay, the next of the further document will be discussed in the next part of my video. So let's jump on to strategies which can help a dyslexic learner to learn. The dyslexic student must be shown the big picture and then how the details fit into it. Okay, so basically, from you can say simple to complex, showing the big picture and then how the smaller details, the characteristics fit into that concept. Okay, from parts to whole, okay, from easy to more difficult, from simple to complex, from concrete to abstract, like if you're teaching the concept of addition, initially it can be proceed with the manipulatives and then jumping to the bigger number or larger number of addition. From visual to auditory, allowing, always showing him how new information fits in, what he has learned, review and practice at every step is very important. Regular practice, regular repetition of the concept is necessary. Now, the dyslexic student is not an incidental learning. Incidental learning basically means कि वो situation में हम बच्चे को डालेंगे, वो circumstances बच्चे के आगे होंगे तो अपने आप सीख जाएगा. No, not at all. वो अपने आप नहीं सीख पाएगा. It is difficult for him to analyze the situation. So he must be directly taught, shown everything. Okay, a situation needs to be created, the conclusion needs to be given, the depth of that situation must be taught to that child. The dyslexic student is not lazy. He is doing his best. We know we should be aware of it. He is trying to put his efforts. He is not giving excuses. He is not trying to be lazy. Okay. It takes many times more energy for a dyslexic student to get through the day and to do even average work. It takes lots of energy. It takes up lots of mental energy. Mental task is required, and the child is feeling lots of stress because of that small task, which we feel is so easy. Okay. But for a child who is dyslexic, that task might not be easy. So we should have that empathy. Now, the dyslexic student needs a quiet, calm, structured, order, consistent, and a fair environment. Okay. Too many instructions at a time, too many multiple tasks, so many complex environment, so many learners around him. All of this will be a stress for a child who is having dyslexia. So there has to be quite structured environment, a consistent, a fair environment around him. one or two verbal instruction at a time, short, simple instruction with few words. Okay. Then time to process what he has heard. An opportunity should be given to explore his creativity in the learning. Like if I have taught a topic, so I can encourage the child, whatever you have understood at the, if in my class I'm having an exit time, okay? Exit time in which I'm recapitulating my lesson. I can give, I can distribute the flashcards and encourage all the students in my class to just write down one sentence, whatever you have understood. Okay. But for the child who is having dyslexia, I can encourage the child to draw whatever you have understood in my class. Okay. So this how I'm giving an opportunity to use his creative skills. Time to complete assignments. Okay. The dyslexic student appears not to be paying attention. In fact, he is experiencing an auditory overload and may even get a glazed look on his face. So, this is very important. Sometimes, when the content, when the instructions are so much and so many in the class, the child is not able to, have that understanding of the instruction and might feel overburdened with so many of instruction auditory stimulus. So in this case, we have to understand that, okay, we can give a written instruction, we can give a small instruction, or just to give a time, extra time to the child to understand what's happening around and allow him to work on his own pace. Okay. Now, accommodating students with dyslexia in all the classroom setting. When we are talking about accommodations, modification, it refers to basically the changes that we are making. Modification is basically when we are reducing the level of the content according to level of the child, when we are giving simpler questions, when we are reducing the level of the answer sheet, question paper, and allowing the child to write in simple words, in one single line statements. Okay, so that is modification when we are reducing the level of the content and make the content appropriate according to the needs of the child. But when I'm talking about accommodation, it refers to changes in the environment. It does not include reducing the level. It just refers to changes in the environment to make the child comfortable, to make the child um, supported, to provide support to the learner having dyslexia in the classroom. So accommodation basically refers to simple changes that we are helping in simple changes in such a way in which the learner is feeling comfortable in that classroom. Okay. Now, accommodation involving in materials if we talk about, like using a tape recorder. तो जो कंटेंट मैं बाकी बच्चों को पढ़ा रही हूँ, the same content I have recorded for the child who is having dyslexia. This is accommodation. मैंने कंटेंट को रिड्यूस नहीं करा, लेवल कम नहीं करा. मैं सेम कंटेंट की बात कर रही हूँ जो मैं जनरल कैटेगरी स्टूडेंट्स को पढ़ा रही हूँ. And I have used a tape recorder for a child who is having dyslexia. Directions, stories, specific lessons can be recorded on the tape so that the student can replay the tape according to his own pace. Okay. Clarified, simple written direction. If I'm giving written direction, same written direction that I have given to general category student can be simplified. Okay, here is the example. The blue color is for the original direction that I can give to general category student, and the direction that I have simplified in that is being highlighted in yellow, it's for a child who is having dyslexia. Okay, read each sentence and circle all the conjunctions. So instead of a complex direction, I can simplify my direction. Present a small amount of work. This is very important. If you are presenting so much of assignments, multiple number of questions in that one assignment, that is usually hectic because it's giving the visual stimuli, visual symbol to the child that there is so much of work. In the initial level only, the child will start showing his demotivation that look, I'm not interested in doing the work. Okay, so presenting a small amount of work, small assignments to students who are anxious about the amount of work, teacher can reduce the amount of work when it appears to be redundant. Okay, divide the worksheet into sections. instruct the student to do a specific section. Like if there is so many questions, I have divided the questions into section like A, B, C, D. Okay. I can encourage the child right now only do section A. That's it. At your home or in the next class, you can focus on section B. Okay. So this how dividing the section, dividing the worksheet or the task into section. Block out the extraneous stimulus. Okay. Now, if I'm talking about extraneous stimulus, like if there is extra distraction in the class, okay, or on the instruction that I'm giving, or the visual stimuli that is being presented is really distracting for the child, a blank sheet of paper can be used to cover the section or page not being worked on at time. Okay, like for an example, I'm presenting a worksheet, and on some sections, on some portion of that worksheet, there are some visuals which is not important, which is not related to that worksheet. So I can put a blank page to cover that visual stimulus, which is not necessary. Okay, so blocking out the extraneous stimulus, highlighting the essential information so that it is not difficult for the child to find the important information on that page. Providing additional practices, supplement the material with practice activities, exercises, instruction games, peer teaching activities, self-correcting materials, all of these can be provided. Benefit students usually benefit from a glossary of content related items. Okay, when we are giving them dictionary, when we are giving them the list of important words, encouraging them to read the important words first. Okay, developing reading guides, provide students with a roadmap of what is being written, features periodic questions to help him or her to focus on the relevant content. A reading guide can be developed paragraph by paragraph, page by page, section by section. Okay. It again, like if we are talking about one chapter in the EVS book, okay, that one chapter can be divided into reading guides. Reading guide basically includes a simple explanation of that topic. Okay, so that one chapter can be divided into different reading guides. That one page has a one reading guide, second page is having different simple instructions or simple explanation of that concept. Okay, now accommodations involving interactive instruction. सबसे पहले हमने डिस्कस किया कि कैसे आप चेंजेस ला सकते हैं मटेरियल्स में. नाउ वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस आप कैसे चेंजेस ला सकते हैं अपनी इंस्ट्रक्शंस में. Okay, adapt a material to include the procedure, like demonstrating the skill, providing guided practice, offer corrective feedback. जब भी आप बच्चे को कोई भी इंस्ट्रक्शन दे रहे हैं, you can include an example along with it. Like for an example, if I have instructed the child that you have to, let's say, you have to make a particular figure, okay, or you have to draw this thing. Okay, so I can first demonstrate it कि कैसे बनाना है, मुझे अपने इस लेसन को कैसे कन्वर्ट करना है एक पिक्चर में या एक ग्राफिक ऑर्गेनाइजर में. So first I can demonstrate that. Okay, or and then I can also provide a, मैं बच्चे को करने को बोलूंगी, and then I can provide a feedback. You can move from left to right, you can move from this approach. Okay, providing a corrective, clear, simple feedback कि बच्चे ने जो काम कर रहा है धीरे धीरे वो उस पे वर्क कर रहा है, is he doing it right? Then providing independent practice. Okay, now I'm leaving it on you, do it on your own. Then monitoring practice. Like when he is practicing, you can be with the child, you can just see that he is doing it right or not, and then reviewing it, that how much you have been successful, how much you have improved, what all changes is required for the next time. Okay, repeating directions on a regular basis. If direction contains several steps, break down the direction into subsets. Okay, simplify the direction, use written direction, read and understand the words as well as comprehend the meaning of direction. अगर आप written direction दे रहे हैं, you have to make sure कि बच्चे को वो रिटर्न डायरेक्शन समझ में आ रही है, सेंटेंसेस, मीनिंग ऑफ सेंटेंसेस आर क्लियर. Daily routine. Children with learning problems, they are really benefited if we are providing them structured daily routines. So if you're planning your session, if you take sessions of children having dyslexia, make sure the time, the day of the time, the period is structured, is repeated. It's not changing frequently because that organization is not being given, and then the child might feel disturbed. Okay. Providing a copy of lecture notes for students who have difficulty in taking or copying the notes. So we can provide a copy of lecture notes, providing student with graphic organizer. If I am discussing the timeline, like if I'm talking about the transports and their timeline, okay, like how the transports have been evolved from which century to which century. So for this particular topic, I can provide a outline, I can provide a graphic organizer so that it's clear. With the help of visuals also, I can use this. It's clear in front of the child that how the types of transports have been evolved. Using step-by-step instruction, small sequential steps, helping learner with limited prior knowledge who need explicit or part to whole instruction. Okay, if I'm teaching any concept, if I'm giving any instruction, any information, new or difficult information को मैं steps में divide कर सकती हूँ. Now, writing key points on the blackboard, combining verbal and visual instructions, using balanced presentation and activity, using mnemonic instruction. Now, mnemonic refers to uh, remembering the key information or steps in the learning strategy. Like for an example, if I want to teach the lakes, the names of great lakes, it can be divided into a mnemonic instruction like homes. H for Huron, O for Ontario, M for Michigan, E for Erie, S for Superior. So these are the names of the lake which the child can learn by just remembering the mnemonic, that is homes. Okay. Then emphasizing on daily review of previous learning, what we learned in the previous class, what we understood in the previous lecture, previous session, and then introducing the new information. So making the content of the previous knowledge with the present knowledge. Okay. Accommodations involving student performance, changing the response mode. If the child has difficulty with fine motor responses, you can encourage the child to underline, select the multiple choices, sorting, marking, okay, providing extra space for writing the answer, providing an outline of the lecture, making short notes of that lecture and giving it to the child, use of graphic organizers, okay, collecting and dividing information into, then encouraging the child that how to use a graphic organizer बनाते कैसे है वो भी बच्चे को सिखाना is important. Then placing student close to the टीचर के साथ बिठाना, ब्लैक बोर्ड के साथ, व्हाइट बोर्ड के साथ, and away from the distracting sounds or the corners, like near the window, near the door. These areas need to be avoided. Encouraging use of assignment books, calendars, reducing copying by including information, handouts or worksheets can be given. Having a student turn line paper vertically for maths so that appropriate column is being given so that he can do his math problem sums accurately. Then using cues to denote important terms, using bullets. एक आंसर को bullets में divide करना, how to divide it, and you can also help the child to divide one answer into bullet points so that it is more easy for the child to learn and to understand with the help of bullets. Then designing the hierarchical worksheets, okay, from easy to hard questions dena, easy to hard worksheets dena. Then allowing the use of instructional aids like number lines, counters, calculators, displaying the work sample. जैसे भी आप काम चाहते हैं आप वो एक सैंपल बच्चे को दिखा दीजिए that this is the task we are expecting you to do, this is the activity we want you to do, these are the steps you need to follow. So displaying the work sample, using peer mediated learning, peer buddy system, encouraging the child to explain the concept to his friend, to his peer. Okay, encourage note sharing using a carbon paper, notebook, computer, to so that if the child is absent, if the student with learning problem is absent, is easily to see what has been done in the previous class. Then using flexible work timings, using additional practice, using assignment substitution or adjustments. Okay, complete projects instead of oral reports. Allow also tests can be given in the oral or written form. Allow her or him to outline the information and give an oral presentation instead of writing a paper. Okay. Now, types of test item formats. Whenever you are making your evaluation or assessment test items, this format you can definitely use, like true or false question, true and false questions कैसे होने चाहिए, essay test कैसे होने चाहिए, multiple choice test कैसे होने चाहिए, filling the blanks में आपको कौन से points याद रखने हैं, matching test कैसे होने चाहिए. I will share this PDF with you, and definitely you can use it when you are planning or making a test for a child having dyslexia. Okay, that's it for today. If you're having any doubts, you can definitely ask. You can